All right, and welcome back to the show. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, building damage experts, every Saturday right here on iHeartRadio, WFLA Orlando, News Talk, 94.1 FM, 93.1 FM, and if you're listening on the AM dial, 540 AM if you're driving through locally in Orlando. Thanks, guys, for hanging out throughout the break. On this segment, we have some new guests in the studio. If you guys remember, Patrick Carr with many different hats, the Patrick Carr Show, Blue Collar Media, and yes, the well-renowned, how do we even say he has the best clean hands and junk that we've ever tested here on the show. Let me just be honest with you, right?
Yes.
So it was a great show. If you missed that, we have to go back to the archives for that show. But Patrick, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I appreciate it, and I appreciate the introduction. You know, the Peter meter, it came true. I mean, it was one of the best, funniest episodes I think I've ever heard. Yeah, I mean, Kristi over here is like, what are they talking about?
So we'll fill her in later.
It's good to be back though. Thanks a lot, Richie. Thank you.
All right, and speaking of, you do have a guest today.
Yes.
That you brought on our guest on the show. If you want to go ahead and introduce her to the show.
Well, Richie, I have talked about this organization before on your show, and I know me and you have done some separate stuff where I've talked about this organization. It's one that I believe in, and I think, and I'm really happy your audience has now an opportunity to learn about what this organization is doing. It's Construction Angels. It's near and dear to my heart, and the person here to my left, I know it is to hers as well. It's Miss Kristi Gibbs. Kristi, how long have you been? I mean, I want to say it's over 15 years.
Let's welcome her to the show.
Oh, well, sorry.
Thank you, Richie.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Patrick.
I'm a little rusty at this, you know what I mean? So forgive me. Is it, man, they love you here.
Yeah, they really do.
So
it's for real. It's just going down. All right, so go ahead.
How long have you been, I mean, when did you start Construction Angels? Can you tell us a little bit of the history, and maybe for somebody who hasn't been introduced to it before? I know the amazing work you're doing, but help us out a little bit with how it got started and what it's all about.
Sure. Construction Angels got started in June 2011. We're a 501c3 nonprofit charity, started here in South Florida. And so 12 years later, we just had our 12-year anniversary in June. We are in 24 states.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you. And the goal is to be in all 50 states by the time I'm 50.
All right.
50 by 50.
So 25 years, you'll be able to make it.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
Sure, great, thanks.
If it's okay, Kristi or Richie, I'd like to ask, what does Construction Angels do, though, for people who've never heard of it? Because it is so absolutely incredible. I got involved about 2 years ago with what you're doing. I just think it's such a special organization.
Thank you. So Construction Angels is a 501c3 nonprofit charity. We provide immediate financial assistance and grief counseling to the spouse and children left behind when a construction worker has a fatality on the job site. And when that happens, at this point right now, we're at $7,000 per family. We provide up to $1,000 in grief counseling, and we also do scholarships. So let's say, for example, one option is we're trying to retain our kids in the construction industry, so we give out scholarships in states that we hold fundraisers. Another option is when a child has lost a parent due to a job site fatality, they can apply for any type of career that they want, and all the students can reapply each year, which is really helpful to them.
Wow, that's a fantastic, not only idea, but organization. I mean, so many folks that, I wouldn't even know where to go, what to do, what programs were available. If I had a spouse or significant other that did have an accident on a job site, we hear about it all the time. Is that, and you say you're primarily in the United States. Are you in the Southeast? And you said you started here in Florida, and you're in other states. Have you just started in the Southeast and just kind of going out? Or
that's an ironic question. I had a plan to go to some places, but the big man upstairs had a plan to take us other places that we have never figured. So we've been in Kansas, Arkansas, Iowa. We're just having our first golf tournament in Iowa. The one I did pick was Hawaii, so I go there next month. I've been waiting for that one. We're going across the United States. It's kind of scattered. We're in California, Arizona, Utah, so we're kind of in different places.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I mean, I guess it would be where a lot of the hot pockets are of new development building and where there's a lot of construction workers and things like that. I guess you would go with the flow on those big projects, I would imagine. So no, that's great. And then how did you guys end up meeting and start? I know you've been on different platforms, not only talking with other roofing contractors, but other folks in the industry. Did you guys meet at a one of these trade shows or event places, or how'd you guys meet?
I had decided, Richie, a couple of years back that wanted to do something for an organization within the industry. And so when I went to go looking around, I don't remember who it was that introduced me over to Construction Angels, but I had met them at a clay shoot they were doing. And of all places, and said, hey, listen, I want to do something for this organization. So we did a charity run. And that's what we ended up doing. And we raised about $5,000, which, hey, maybe it helped one family that was out there. And in my opinion, that makes it worth it. Exactly. There we go. Absolutely. And from that point forward, just tried to help where I can in raising the awareness for what this organization does. I remember this, Kristi. How did you ever start? I don't know exactly this answer. How did you start Construction Angels, or why did you start it? Was there a family or something you saw happen? Can you fill us on that?
Actually, a lot of people ask me that question. Yeah. Did you have something that happened to you that made you want to start this? So the ironic thing is I'm a third generation of an asphalt family from Ohio. And I was, grew up in Ohio, went to the asphalt plants. It was my playground with my brother and I. My family's still doing it. It's actually on the fourth generation now with my little cousins and who are now big. And so I went out to the World of Asphalt trade show in 2009 while I was working in the construction industry here in Florida. I went out to Nashville, Tennessee, and at the World of Asphalt, I met a woman who was collecting money for one of our own. And I said, what is one of our own? And she said a construction worker had passed and he left behind a spouse and children. And, they were just raising money. I assumed one of our own was the name of a charity. And so I brought the idea back to South Florida because I couldn't stop thinking about it. I looked it up. I couldn't find anything. What I didn't realize is police officers and firefighters also have one of our own. And it's really supporting people in your own industry. And there was no charity that I could find that was benefiting construction workers. So I started looking up statistics, and I found there was approximately 4.5 construction workers killed per working day in the United States alone.
Holy cow.
And so I found out that there was a need for it. When I wanted to start it, it was back in 2009, almost towards the end. And it took about a year and a half just to get the 501c3. And we started doing our fundraisers in Florida. And my construction job at the time took me all over Florida and into Georgia. So I ended up doing a clay shoot in Georgia. And I figured if I can get in with the good old boys in Georgia, I can definitely go back home and do a golf tournament. So that's kind of how the idea started. And then I had to quit my full-time job. And now this is my full-time job, and it's the most rewarding job I've ever had.
Yeah, I bet you it is. And just to be able to assist or help and be a part of a recovery of a family that just has no other place to go, or, just seems down in their luck and that one time of need. And I feel like all of us in this industry kind of do that for each other, and has the heart like that to want to put out, their time and effort and quit your job and be full time in this. I know I live in this full time in this industry for the same different reason, but one and the same is to help folks. And we appreciate what you do and what your organization does. I think that's fantastic. And I do want to have our listeners go to your website as well. So what's the best website and way to know more about you and your company?
Great question. So the website is www.constructionangels.us. There's a lot of information there. We have committee members like Patrick. We have volunteers that come out maybe to just one specific event. We also have board of directors that are on a national level that represent various states. Some of them are United Rentals, John Deere, Gilbane. And matter of fact, I was just at a John Deere project. We did a photo shoot today here in Orlando, and they're national, and they're helping us, bring awareness to the charity to get more national exposure and to get other companies like them also involved. So, for example, they had a national fundraiser for us in Las Vegas this year. They hosted.
Oh, wow.
So we look for hosts of fundraisers to get involved. And they had this fundraiser, and now we're hosting a golf tournament in Iowa because of them. So the word kind of spread.
Great. That's great. And they can find a lot of that information on your website. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
ConstructionAngels.us. That's awesome. All right, we're going to have to take a break here. We'll be right back with our guest here, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. Don't go anywhere. All right. We're back with Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, building damage experts. Thank you guys for hanging out throughout the break. Live here on iHeartRadio, 94.1 FM, 93.1 FM, and also on the AM dial 540 AM. Thanks again for listening to this fantastic show. We have a great set of guests for you guys today. We have Patrick Carr here today with the Blue Collar Media Group and the Patrick Carr Show. That's
there
right.
We go.
Going down here on Saturdays.
Man.
And he's feeling a lot better on Saturday morning than he used to, rolling the studio a little bit with some cool backstories from the night before. What? He's like, whoa, hold on here. This is a family show.
Right. Come on.
PG today.
Trying to clean it up here, Richie. Okay.
All right. Fine. We have another guest with us today with Construction Angels, constructionangels.us for more information. And so we'll just continue on what we're talking about. And Kristi, I think you've had something else you'd like to highlight with us for the listeners here about your 501c3. Right. All right. So I'm a 501c6 because I do a lot of political campaign. So they made us become a 6. So I tell us a little bit more about that type of organization. And I know I'm tax deductible only for businesses, though, because of the way I transact here in the state of Florida. But you're on a national because you're in multiple states. So how does that differ? And then are there benefits for the folks that do give to you or hold golf tournaments or fundraisers? Or how does that work for you?
Anyone that writes a check or pays Construction Angels, whether our website, these are the ways they can donate. On our website, you can make a one-time donation, a recurring donation. You can send a check to national. If you wanted it to go to a particular state, you could actually write that in the memo, and that money would go to the state or it would go into national. But we are tax deductible, and it's for anybody.
That's great. So it's great. Whether you're acting as a person or your corporation, that is something that you get the benefit of that tax deduction or benefit for that donation. Then correct?
Right. And we do have a lot of fundraisers, like I was saying, and as we're building momentum, we're almost halfway there, almost to 25 states. So once we do get into these other states, what we look for is, number one, you can come out and you can participate, and our events are fun. Or you can sponsor a particular event, or you could host an event. Maybe you want to just have, your own 5K like Patrick did, and you just create something, and we'll support you. We'll promote it. Also, you can make, what am I thinking?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Anyway, there's plenty of ways to get involved. So check us out on our website and
there's a lot of creative ways, it seems like, and those are all great ways to hold these fundraisers, because you want to do something that's fun, want to do something that people want to attend, and also for a good cause. I mean, Construction Angels is a great cause. Your money does go to a great space, and that's for folks that are left behind after their spouse or significant other is killed or injured on the job site. Now, is it just folks that have passed away, or is it injured folks? Or is it? Tell us a little bit more about how you guys support the folks that may be on a construction site. And either way, whether they're deceased or whether they're severely injured, how does that work?
So, if we did injuries, we would have no money. It would be really, really terrible. So we only do fatalities, and now with that national fundraiser that we had, we're helping families in states that were not currently having fundraisers. Recently, we helped a woman in Washington. We've helped a family in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana, and we're not in those states yet. So that's what happens when people donate or help us with, fundraising on a national level. And we do a lot of outdoor events. Some fishing tournaments. We have a bass tournament coming up in November in Kissimmee here. We have clay shoots, and get involved or help us do something different.
That's awesome.
There was one particular family that sticks out to me. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about it, Kristi. It was last year here in Florida. I don't think it's even been a year. In fact, I'm positive it hasn't. In North Central Florida, in the Villages area, I believe the young man was trapped underneath a bridge. He was working on a road, I believe. And left his family immediately, I believe is what it was. Do you remember this story? It was in North Central Florida. I know that it was that time we were working a golf tournament, and it was a young man.
Okay.
I want to say in his mid-20s.
Yep.
And like, it's just a terrible story, Richie, when I think about this, that you go to work. I mean, so many people, you think about that. You just go to work and assume your spouse and your husband or the father, his mother is going to come home, and then they don't. And it leaves these kids with who's going to pay for the backpack, who's going to make sure that the rent is paid that month. And that's one of the reasons I really love this organization. Or
even a bury, that person. I mean,
funeral
it's
expenses.
Absolutely.
Right,
absolutely, Richie. And so you think that one of the things I want to get across to people, because I've gotten this, and I know, Kristi, you do too. I've had friends that have said, well, isn't insurance going to cover that? Isn't the company going to step forward? And I think that everyone can agree that probably when this happens, unfortunately, there are times where attorneys get involved.
Right.
And that prolongs the process. And sometimes those companies are not going to work with that fallen construction worker and their family because attorneys get involved. And you can say that's right or wrong, but the one thing I like about Construction Angels is they're not there to pass judgment or be political. It's who's going to help this family get through. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons I got involved with them. I think that everyone puts their politics to the side. There's a family, there's children who have lost somebody that is so dear to them, that's the breadwinner of the family. And construction workers is doing their part to step in and bridge that gap. You can't go wrong with that. But that story sticks out in my mind. If you remember,
she came to the golf tournament that day. That's why you remember that. So that particular family came out, and it's really nice to be able to hand somebody the check and give them a hug, because now we've talked on the phone with this woman and cried with her. I do cry a lot when I get these phone calls or when I make them, and it gets emotional. Mm-hmm. And then to be able to say, please go pick a counselor in your area or somebody you feel comfortable talking to, and we'll pay the Institute directly. $1,000, that's at least what you would think 10 sessions.
It's great stuff. Yeah, that's so, Richie, when people think about this organization, I hope they know that this is not them giving college scholarships are part of it, don't get me wrong, but this isn't some fund that these people are going to get if they cross all these X's and dot all these I's. No, this is cash that these people can use to get through the most difficult time that someone can imagine. And I just don't know how that's not something worth supporting right there.
No, that's excellent. I mean, and I hope that folks that are listening here that tells their friends and tells other people that this type of program does exist. I don't know how many people I know in the construction industry, many people that I know, and I didn't know that this program existed either. So I'm thankful that you're on the show today.
Thank you.
And if you are listening to it on iHeart, flip on over to our Facebook page, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. We'll be posting videos of this interview here and how you can get more information on this program to donate now or be a part of their fundraisers. I think it's a great event. We hope that you do raise a lot of money and you can help as many families as you possibly can. I think it's an excellent idea. And again, I mean, how many stories have we heard of people falling off of roofs or through a roof, and whether injuries and whether fatalities exist, and and the question is what do we do now? And I think that's going to be a question that we can easily answer and say, have you talked with Construction Angels yet?
Yep.
And I think it's a perfect match for what you're doing and our listeners.
Thank you. One thing that we ask people to do is, if you hear of a construction fatality, it's great that they reach out to us, because some people assume that we know and we actually don't. So we have a short form on our website. Awesome. It's an assistance request form that either the contractor or anybody can complete, and they complete it within 3 to 5 minutes, and we call the company just to verify employment, verify the beneficiary, and then we send it to the committee. They approve or disapprove, but they approve it for the most part, and then we pass it along, and it's taken care of. There's no strings attached. The money came from the industry. We get support from our industry. We are always looking for support outside of our industry, but pretty much we're getting support from one of our own.
That's excellent. That's awesome, man. And that's great. And that's constructionangels.us. That's the website you go to. And again, we're gonna put this on our website, on our Facebook page, and we'll pop it on our Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell as well. I imagine you're gonna push it out as well too, Patrick Carr.
Absolutely.
So check him out as well. Blue Collar Media or the Patrick Carr Show, easily to be found online. Just type in the Patrick Carr. I think you'll be able to find him.
Yeah, it's not vain enough to name a show after yourself. I did it. So
Hey, man,
there you go.
You know, that's how you distinguish yourself from everybody else.
Appreciate
the Joe
it.
Rogans of the world.
Yeah, there we
that
go.
makes sense.
Absolutely.
Thanks for inviting me, and thank you for having me on your show, Richie.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're on our show today. So thanks again for joining us on the show today. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, building damage experts. We'll talk to you guys here soon, and thanks again for being our guest today. See you.
Thank you.